Hello, and welcome to an overview of understanding drug rebates and discounts for private payers. My name is Sharon Yeske, and I am a reimbursement and policy specialist for drugs within the Small Business Education and Entrepreneurial Development, or SEED office. So, let's get started. There are two learning objectives for this presentation to help innovators understand why manufacturers negotiate rebates and discounts and who the key players are in these negotiations. This is a high-level overview with a focus on a new brand name drug and the rebates and discounts that might be involved. While there are different types of payers, this presentation focuses on private payers, often referred to as commercial, and Medicare Part D. Medicare Part D is a private insurance benefit. It's a voluntary outpatient prescription drug benefit for people with Medicare that's offered through private insurance companies that have contracts with the federal government. First, it is important to remember that having a drug approved by the FDA is first and foremost to move forward to commercial success. However, it's equally important to ensure reimbursement by payers and provide access to prescribers and patients for widespread adoption and uptake in the marketplace. Part of a reimbursement strategic plan that you should begin developing as early as 24 to 36 months prior to anticipated launch is gaining an understanding of the payer landscape and the difference between the types of payers. Basically, rebates and discounts play a key role in the positioning of a new drug on a payer's drug list and may well determine whether it is a preferred drug versus a non-preferred drug. You may ask, why negotiate for rebates or discounts? What are the goals you would want to achieve? As you can imagine, having the drug secure a position on the payer's preferred drug list, PDL, can be a key to its success. Some may even say it is critical to its uptake in the marketplace. Another goal could be to increase or capture market share while gaining or expanding access to your product, and doing all this while maximizing your net unit price and volume of units sold. Therefore, the impact of rebates and discounts must be integrated into your reimbursement strategic planning process. Next, let's discuss the role of the PBM in negotiations. Pharmacy benefit managers, PBMs, generally negotiate on behalf of payers and are often seen as the key player in the negotiations for favorable placement of a drug on a formulary, including tier placement. There are nearly 70 PBM companies with 3 dominant PBMs, CVS Caremark, Optum Rx, and Express Scripts, that control about 89% of the market's prescription volume. PBMs and health plans, among other healthcare entities, utilize a Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee, P&T, to review new drugs for coverage and inclusion or exclusion on their formularies. It will become important in your strategic planning to know and understand key members on these P&T committees. So what is a formulary and tier placement? A formulary is the list of covered drugs by a specific health plan. Tiers are groups of drugs that are categorized by cost. Each tier has a different cost, and drugs in lower tiers usually cost less than drugs in higher tiers. The cost share or copayment someone pays is based on the tier that the drug is in. As you can see from the example, tiers can vary across plans. For example, a drug could be Tier 2 on one plan, but be a Tier 3 on another plan. It is important to consider where you want your new drug to be positioned on a formulary including the tier placement. As mentioned earlier, Medicare Part D is a voluntary private prescription drug plan for individuals over 65 who have Medicare or specific long-term disabilities. One of the differences, though, between Part D and private plans is that Part D plans must follow the USP, United States Pharmacopoeia, Medicare model guidelines for their formulary submissions. According to the Medicare model guidelines, a formulary must include at least 2 drugs in each approved category and class when submitting for drug coverage, unless there's only 1 drug available in that particular category or class. There is a separate webinar that discusses the importance of identifying what drug category and class your product will be listed under and understanding why it can be significant. This slide shows an example of how rebates and discounts vary between public and private payers. A public payer such as Medicaid will have mandatory rebate requirements by law, while private payers have flexibility and choice in negotiating rebates or discounts. The impact of these differences is often reflected in the actual price, often referred to as the net price. It will be critical to factor varying levels of rebates into your reimbursement strategic plan, especially as it relates to the development of the list price at launch. So in summary, this presentation has been a high-level overview of the rebates and discounts for private payers, including Medicare Part D. The ultimate goal for any new drug should be to ensure market access for patients. So it's important to start early, do the research, analysis, and scenario planning that will support a successful launch and uptake in the marketplace. And if you still have questions after listening to this recording, you can always reach out to us and request a consult with someone from our team. In addition, the SEED website contains links to additional information that discuss the reimbursement strategy planning in more detail with some key examples, and also a knowledge guide with additional information. Thank you.